Hey everyone, welcome to Reality TV News Update, the place where we bring you the latest updates, fun moments, and behind-the-scenes stories you won't want to miss. The internet stopped breathing after Morgan posted a number of pictures. Fans leaned closer to their screens as though the answer might appear if they stared hard enough, as the feed kept refreshing. Smiles everywhere, filters glowing, sunlight spilling across patios and mirrors and city streets. Morgan appeared completely unbothered, at ease and self-assured. However, the question was more audible than any caption. Where is Vince? For days, the house had been buzzing with theories and timelines and emotional spiral threads. Prior to the post, Morgan had been quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that makes people think something already happened and they were the last to know. Then suddenly the pictures dropped all at once like a confetti cannon. Group shots, single shots, candids that looked too perfect to be accidents. Not one shadow that looked like Vince. Not one reflection. Not one half-smile hiding in the background. Nothing. Fans zoomed in. Fans cropped edges. Fans adjusted brightness like detectives in pajamas. Someone claimed to have seen a familiar jacket on a chair. Someone else said it was just wishful thinking. The comments filled with the same question written 1,000 different ways. Where is Vince? Is Vince okay? Did Vince take the photos? Are they together? Are they done? Is this a soft launch of something new or a hard erase of something old? Morgan did not answer. A weather-related comment was appreciated by Morgan. Morgan replied to a heart emoji with another heart. Morgan shared a story about star-shaped coffee foam art. Still no Vince. Inside the Big Brother world, silence is louder than a live feed cut. Every pause feels intentional. Every gap becomes a message. Morgan knew this. Morgan had learned it the hard way. When you post without someone, people assume distance. When you post a lot, people assume distraction. People assume you are getting paid when you post joy. Morgan posted joy like a banner across the sky. Vince had been a constant for weeks. Vince in strategy talks, Vince in whispered late-night kitchen moments, Vince in the diary room sounding confident and grounded and loyal, Vince who won when it mattered and lost when it hurt, Vince who promised to protect and then got protected instead. Fans saw a future arc. Fans were invested. The arc now felt cut. The pictures told a story, even if Morgan refused to write one. There was laughter with friends who were not house guests. There was movement and color and distance from the familiar walls. There was liberty, or maybe just a day out. The problem was not what was shown. The problem was what was missing. Vince had gone quiet too. His last post was a repost of a fan edit set to a dramatic song. After that, nothing. No comment on Morgan post, no like. There is no subtle sign. The silence between them felt wider than the backyard wall. The speculation became the narrative. Narrative turned into certainty. Certainty turned into outrage. A few supporters felt betrayed. Some felt protective. Some people felt confident. This is why you never ship. This is why you never trust. You watch the game, not your emotions, because of this. But other fans slowed down. They remembered the cameras that do not show everything. They remembered contracts and appearances and timing. They remembered that real people step away sometimes without meaning anything at all. Morgan eventually added a caption hours later. Just a simple line about sunshine and gratitude and catching up with life. No names, no tags. The omission felt deliberate and also completely normal. Both things can be true. Behind the scenes, Vince was not missing. He was just not visible. He was back home dealing with the whiplash of sudden attention. He was sleeping late and ignoring his phone. He was with family who did not care about likes. He was grounding himself in places that knew him before confessionals. Vince had seen the pictures. He smiled. He felt proud, odd, and relieved at the same time. Proud because Morgan looked happy, strange because the internet wanted a statement he did not owe, relieved because quiet can be kind. They had talked earlier that morning. Nothing dramatic, nothing binding, just two people acknowledging the noise and choosing not to feed it. Not everything needs a caption, not everything needs proof. The fans did not know this. The fans filled the gap with fear and hope and projection. That's what fandom does. It builds castles out of shadows. By nightfall, Morgan posted another story. A sunset. No people, only color. The responses slowed down. The theories paused. For a moment, the questions softened. Where is Vince became, when will we know? Perhaps the answer is not missing in any way. Perhaps Vince is precisely where he ought to be. Off the screen, unlabeled, still real, still present in ways that don't trend. And maybe Morgan posting a bunch of pics was not a message, but a breath, an indication that life goes on outside the house. There's no need to explain that happiness, that not all absence is loss. The internet will ask again tomorrow. It always does. But tonight, the story ends without a reveal. No cliffhanger, no confirmation. Just two people living separate hours of the same day while thousands watch the spaces between them. The first photo showed Morgan in sunlight, hair wavy, eyes bright, a soft grin that felt unguarded. The second showed friends laughing at a table piled with food. The third was a mirror shot that only captured the room's curve. The edges were checked by fans. Fans searched reflections. Fans searched shadows. No Vince. The comments filled fast. Some were excited. Some were nervous. Some were sharp. Some were pleading. Where is Vince rose again and again like a chant. People asked it kindly. People asked it angrily. People asked it like a joke that wasn't really a joke. Morgan said nothing. For weeks, Vince had been everywhere in the story people told themselves. Vince was strategy. Vince was loyalty. Vince was the quiet calm when things went loud. Vince was the guy who listened and then acted. Vince felt steady. Vince felt valued. Vince felt like someone you could count on. Now he was gone from the frame. The silence felt intentional to the audience, because silence always does. In a world trained by live feeds and constant updates, any gap becomes a signal. Morgan knew this. Morgan had learned it the hard way. When you post without someone, people assume distance. When you post a lot, people assume distraction. People assume you are getting paid when you post joy. Morgan posted joy like a banner across the sky. An hour passed. The likes climbed, the saves climbed, the theories multiplied. Some claimed Vince was behind the camera. It was said that Vince was busy. Some said Vince was done. Some said this was a soft launch of distance. Some said this was a trap for engagement. Morgan posted another post. A street at golden hour. Long shadows, no faces. The caption talked about being thankful, moving, and breathing once more. Still no Vince. People refreshed Vince's page. His last update sat there untouched. A repost, a smile, then nothing. No comment on Morgan post, no like. There is no subtle sign. The silence between them felt wider than the backyard wall. The audience did not know this. The audience only knew the frame. As nightfall, the comments changed once more. The sharp edges dulled. Panic was replaced by curiosity. People began to ask softer questions. When will we know? Are they okay? Is this just space? Morgan posted a story of a sunset turning pink, the kind of sky that makes people pause, the kind of sky that doesn't tell itself anything. The replies slowed. The truth was simple and boring and therefore unacceptable to the internet. Vince was not part of that moment. It didn't mean he was erased as a result. It meant he was not present in that hour. Life is made of many hours. Symbols satisfy people. They want confirmation. They want assurance. A missing person in a photo becomes a message, whether it was meant to be or not. Morgan never addressed it directly. Vince never rushed to correct the record. Time did what time always does. It widened perspective. The conversation shifted once more the next day. New posts appeared. New topics arrived. Attention moved. It always does. Vince also went for a walk, somewhere outside the comments section. Somewhere outside the frame, Morgan laughed. Somewhere between them, nothing was broken, nothing was proven.
After Morgan shared a number of photos, the timeline suddenly became both quiet and loud at the same time. Quiet as a result of people stopping scrolling. Loud as the comments began to fly. Morgan was smiling in every photo. Sunlight. Friends. coffee, a mirror selfie that appeared relaxed and effortless. Everything looked good. Everything looked normal. Yet the same query surfaced time and time again. Where is Vince? He had been a part of the scene for weeks. Even when Vince was not physically present, Vince remained a constant presence, the one they anticipated seeing tagged, lurking in the background, or at the very least acknowledged with a joke. When Morgan posted without him, it felt strange. Not wrong exactly, just noticeable. Fans zoomed in like detectives. They checked reflections in windows. They looked at the shadows. They cropped corners of photos, hoping to find a familiar shoe or jacket. There was nothing. No Vince hand. No Vince laugh. No Vince at all. The comments split quickly. Some were jovial, some were worried, some were demanding. Where is Vince became more of a concern than a joke. People wanted reassurance. People wanted confirmation that what they thought they saw before had not vanished. Morgan did not reply. More important than the photos themselves was the silence. In a world where everything is instantly shared, silence seems deliberate. Theories were developed by fans. Maybe Vince took the photos. Maybe he was busy. Maybe they were keeping things private. It's possible that something took place. Every theory felt possible because nothing had been explained. Vince's side was just as quiet. His most recent post went unread. No like on Morgan pictures, no comment, no clue. The gap between them felt larger than it probably was. Things were simpler behind the scenes. Morgan posted because the day felt good. After weeks of noise and pressure, it felt nice to capture moments that were light and ordinary. There was no message in the post. It was not a test. It was just a post. Vince was not missing. He was just off the grid. He was back home, spending time with family, sleeping without alarms, eating food that did not come with strategy talks, letting the adrenaline fade. The sudden shift from being watched all the time to being watched not at all was overwhelming in its own way. Quiet can be heavy. He had seen the pictures. He smiled. He knew exactly what people would say. He chose not to engage. Sometimes stepping back is easier than trying to explain something that is not broken. They had previously spoken, a normal conversation, no arguments, no ultimatums, just acknowledgement of how loud the internet had become. They agreed to let things breathe. The fans did not know that. Fans only saw what was missing. As the night went on, the comments slowed. Other people's new posts appeared. Attention shifted, like it always does. Morgan added a story of the sunset. No faces, only color. It felt peaceful. The question never fully went away. It just softened. Where is Vince turned into, is everything okay? Maybe the answer is that everything does not need to be answered right away. Maybe Vince was exactly where he should be, away from the frame, away from the noise, still part of the story, even if he is not in the picture. Morgan posted a bunch of pics. The internet panicked. Life continued anyway.